I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Dayton Library Building Committee. It is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, and it's 4:01. This is a hybrid meeting, which means that we have some people on Zoom as well as most of us are in person here. We're located at 1111 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. This agenda is subject to revision additions prior to the meeting. I'm going to ask for a roll call of the members of the building committee, starting with Ron, please.
Ron O'Connor.
Mark Bracknick, Library Director.
Britt Realtrost. Pat Gales, Historical Commission.
Jonathan Gale, ADA Coordinator.
Ken Pacheco, co-chair.
James Aguirre, building official.
Mark?
Morris.
Thank you.
Ralph.
And we have Ralph, who just walked in, a town administrator.
And I'll call to order the special joint meeting of the library trustees with the library building committee of Thursday, May 22, 2025. It is 4 p.m. This meeting is subject to the same terms and conditions as stated by Ken, chair of the library trustees, library building committee. So we'll do a roll call, starting with Ann.
Ann Meitzen, trustee.
Ron
Rita,
O'Connor. Oh, sorry, Rita. Go ahead.
Rita Russo, trustee.
And Ron O'Connor, chair.
Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4 is review, discuss, and act on bids received regarding flooring. Do you have those?
Yes, I do.
Did we choose those? Missed it. It was a party.
Hello, everybody. So GCP was retained to solicit bids on several items. The first one I have for you is flooring. As you know, we picked out all of the type colors, etc. So I'll try to keep this as pithy as possible. 3 people were solicited, 2 people returned quotes. One of them is for East Bay floor covering for $54,900. The other was from J&J Floor Covering Outlet, and his is $47,190. So these have been gone through by GCP and I. We're both in agreement that the low bidder, J&J, should be the one that we contract with. And this is for everything like we discussed.
Yeah.
They bid this to the colors and the plan that we all went over.
Do they purchase the flooring or do we purchase it separately and they're just laying it?
No, this is for everything, start to finish, including the subflooring, all materials. I'll read the scope if you like. The scope of work includes installation of new flooring materials and the refinishing of existing floors as described in the attached floor plan. Types of flooring, colors, and product specifications are as designated on said plan and as approved by the library building committee. So it's everything that we all agree to.
Besides the price on that, what made you go with J&J?
He's a local contractor and I've seen his work.
Okay.
So he's right out of Seacock.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And is this figure something we assume that we budgeted for this amount?
We budgeted $48,000 for that amount. So we're right there,
Slightly under budget.
slightly under budget. Correct. I plan to go through that as we go forward, so,
Sure, okay.
okay.
When would he be starting, Jim, tentatively?
That's gonna, the electrical work needs to happen first, which we're also gonna discuss today. So he would like to, and I don't know if this is, we probably have to discuss this offline, but we're gonna have to get him under contract. He is gonna look for progress payments because of the amount of cost of materials for this project. So I
Because
told
we're not
him,
using the town, he's the sub.
right,
town.
right. So I told him we don't do deposits.
Mhm.
However, I thought progress payment would be appropriate. So I think
Yeah,
he
we
wants to
could-
discuss that.
We can figure that out.
Okay,
We'll talk about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he did tell me, from the moment we give him the go-ahead to finish, if the building was ready for him, it would be 3 weeks.
Okay. Now, is this something after if we go along with this bid, Does that have to go back to the Board of Selectmen? No, okay.
Goes
So
to
once,
just the town
so
administrator.
once we approve it,
Right.
you two and J and J work out a contract.
Yeah.
I could sign all contracts under $50,000. So if it's over 50, I would have to.
Oh, okay.
This is, when the flooring goes in, are they squares that they're putting down, or is it
It depends on what floor you're talking about.
when they do the flooring?
What floor you're talking
Are
about.
they doing
Is it
carpeting
different?
and everything too?
Yes, everything.
They're doing all the
Everything we
flooring.
discussed at our last meeting.
Okay.
So we have the two, I think the squares were 2x2,
2x2 carpet tiles.
and I'm not sure what the
Right.
vinyl was, but.
The vinyl
it's
depends
planks.
on
Yeah,
the,
it could be
I think we picked
6
the
inches,
same
8
vinyl,
inches,
right?
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know the exact size, but it's similar to the samples we had.
Do they warranty the project, and is that in writing somewhere?
It is. Where manufacturer's warranty is transferable to us. So yes, I'll have all that.
And I think you mentioned they're gonna sand the floors and
Sand,
all the
refinish,
floors, yeah.
stain, seal, yes.
we're talking about the ramp, the indoor ramp also, that's gonna be,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve J and J flooring as the winner of the bid for the library.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? I'll start with, say aye, Ron.
Ron O'Connor, aye.
Mark Buckeye. What if you wanted to say no?
We weren't given the choice.
Listen, I need answers.
I have a good all day, okay?
Jonathan,
Should
you know,
should I correct that or? I want to make sure it's appropriate.
you're next.
That's me. Ken Pacheco, let me think about this. I'm gonna say aye. Jim,
James Aguirre, aye.
Ralph Tagle, aye.
Mark,
Mark Tavares?
No.
he's not able to vote, but anyway, it passed,
Thank you.
since we all said aye.
Order two.
Next item is bids received regarding electrical work.
So there are two parts to this. So the first part, GCP again was part of both of these invitations to bid. As we discussed in the past, we did rely heavily on Bristol Plymouth students. They did some work. They haven't done everything. There's still quite a bit missing. Actually, of all of the infrastructural requirements, this is the most important, and we're behind on this, So the town electrician's unable to do the most of the fit out. The town electrician has committed to the HVAC. The HVAC is fully energized and is going to go through trials next week.
Wow.
Good.
So he kept to his word on that, so I'm thankful for that. However, with the electrical work, we put out a bid request, and the request was, see if I can find the section, I should have highlighted, but scope of work is open-ended and on-call by nature. The value of the on-call assignment is expected to exceed 10,000, but will not exceed 25,000. Electrician expenses will be included on a time and materials basis for the assigned electrical work. Price quote shall consist of hourly wages deducted during normal business hours. All material costs are a pass-through and can include a 10% markup. Portions of the assignment as described generally below and further detailed herein, electrical work is expected to include, but is not limited to: install new lighting and remove, reinstall existing lighting fixtures, approximately 40 fixtures in total. Existing electrical infrastructure is, for existing electrical infrastructure already in place, test as needed. Approximately 65% of the lighting electrical infrastructure has not yet been installed. Listed lighting fixtures are supplied by the town. Other fixtures will be provided by the select electrician at the allowed markup. And we're gonna go over the fixtures next, okay? Add receptacles and branch circuit wiring as needed, various locations throughout, as described by the facilities director and the library director. Test existing receptacles and lighting devices, replace as needed. Reinstall all smoke detection devices located in low level. Check associated wiring for proper securement. Replace all existing and install new combination exit emergency signage / lighting, which is a combo unit such as that one, as needed. Route existing coil and fiber cable, which is the fiber optics cable, into the building, which is currently outside. that was done by our fiber optics contractor. And terminate the cable in the library director's office. And then run new data wiring from various locations throughout the building, terminate all data runs in the library director's office. So your office is also going to double as the IT room. So we solicited 5 electricians. 3 responded. 2 responded that they're too busy. We have 1 electrician that responded in the affirmative. Which I'm thankful for, but I'm a little concerned. It is someone not known to me, however, it is someone who's known to Granite City Partners. It's J.C. Lentile Electric Service. They are out of Hyde Park, Massachusetts. I did go through the form, as GCP did. They have done municipal work in the past. They've worked at several EMS facilities throughout Boston. Looks like community colleges, parks department. So it looks like they're familiar with the municipal process, which is helpful. And they do meet all of the other insurance and licensing credentials. So I wish I could give you more intel on this. I don't have any, but I will tell you that we need to get going on the electrical work. Or else we're not going to meet our target dates.
Well, I've been telling people we have a definite target date.
And
Well, if you approve this, we will.
what's the maximum dollar value here?
25,000. And that was a figure that was come up between a collaboration between Granite City, myself, and the town electrician. So it's not a number that was just thrown at the wall.
So Granite City Partners knows of this
They do.
company?
Yeah, they
don't
work.
Have any issues?
No, no.
I just have a quick question. They asked for a deposit?
No.
Oh, okay, oh, okay.
Boring guy.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Got it. Because I said they work with municipalities, they should.
No, the J&J's asked and I told them no. I said, but a progress payment would probably be okay. The electrician, the electrical, no, they'll be paid hourly, so I'm guessing they'll probably bill
Okay.
us weekly.
Okay,
We figured it's probably gonna be about a month's worth of work, so
all right.
Do you know if they've done any work in this area?
I don't, let me see. Boston EMS, Massachusetts Department of Correction, Massasoit Community College, Quincy Parks Department, Boston Parks Department. It looks like they're all in the Hyde Park area. So they're probably throwing us a little bone by helping us out. GCP might have called them and said, please help us out.
Yeah, I guess that. We have nobody, can you do it?
Yeah.
It also helps them to be able to say they've done somebody down this way.
Yeah.
Right,
So it goes both ways.
right.
Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have a problem from a credential or insurance or a capability.
We present a timeline to them and they're able to keep to that timeline.
They are, yeah, the timeline is gonna actually, obviously coming from Hyde Park, they want to come down only once. So the next one that we're gonna vote on, which is the lighting, is probably gonna dictate that. Once the lighting gets ordered, once the lighting lands, then I'm sure they'll come down. And you and I will make sure when they come down, they know everything they need to know.
That was my
What needs to be
question.
done, right?
Okay.
Does that include, except for lighting, does that include the cost of materials, wiring and all that as
The
well?
25, yes. Yes. That's a labor and materials cost.
Okay.
Because the contractor will be billing us accordingly. It'll be labor and materials.
And does this keep us within budget?
It does. That's what we budgeted for. It does not include the lighting fixtures, which we'll talk
Right.
about next, which was also budgeted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to, I forget the name of the company.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Normally I have it.
They're from Hyde Park.
This one I can't recite. J.C. Lentine Electric Service, Lentine Electric Service, Inc. And it was signed by John Lentine, so it's an owner operator, which is comforting.
I'll make a motion to approve JT.
JC.
I got it right the first time. JC Electric for up to a maximum of $25,000 to complete the electrical work on the library.
There a second?
Second,
All those in favor say aye, starting with Ron.
Connor, aye.
North Rock, aye.
Britt Girlish Rust, aye. Pat Gales, aye.
Anybody? Jonathan Gilli.
Kenneth Pacheco, aye.
Is Mark
Jim?
still here?
James Aguirre, aye, I'm sorry.
Ralph?
Ralph Deco, aye.
Mark, are you still up there? I think we lost Mark.
We might have to share a couple of
It
these.
passed unanimously.
I was trying.
I don't have to go into the
I
nays.
was trying not to kill too many trees.
Share.
Oh, he's there.
I'm here. I approve it.
Okay, Mark.
Thank you.
Voted aye. It was unanimous.
Excuse me. second.
What you have before you is the lighting schedule and colored depictions of what the lighting fixtures look like. So the brass pendant light, which is the first one on the top right, is a fairly large fixture, which I think that room, that main room commands a large fixture.
Can I just, is this on the agenda?
It's,
Are we okay?
it's part of electric.
So, okay, so.
Yeah, it's part of the
part
electric.
bid.
Yeah, one can't happen without the other.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Alright, sure.
The, so according to the architect, we need 6 of these fixtures in the main room and 1 in the foyer in order to get the correct amount of lumens. The reading room will have a chandelier in front of the fireplace. Children's room will have 2 cloud lights and 1 round yellow pendant light. And then the craft room will have standard strip lighting, which is LED strip lighting. And those tend to be fairly bright in nature, which I think will be needed in the craft room. So all be told, Granite City Partners went out a few times for bids on this. And they received 2 bids. The first one was from Granite City Supply, no relation, sorry, Granite City Supply. $37,256.67. And Northeast Electrical, both of these companies are known to me. And these are apples and apples. $29,806. We budgeted $40,000 for this. The $40,000, in full disclosure, includes some other fixtures that we need to buy for bathrooms, things like that. We're not talking about $10,000 worth, but there'll be a few more $1,000s expended on those. So because these are apples for apples, I'm sorry, there is one exception. The $37,256.67 does includes freight. The $29,806 does not include freight.
How much is the freight?
Well, Granite City isn't going to share that information. So having some familiarity with how this is shipped, it comes what's called LTL, less than trucking. You pay by the volume and the weight. I would suspect that we could spend about $3,000 on shipping for these. So
Do they have the price without the shipping? So we could compare?
they don't,
No.
they don't.
Okay, so it's all included.
They
Got
would-
it.
Granite City would only quote with shipping and Northeast would only
Okay.
quote without shipping. And shipping was gonna be a pass-through once we once we ordered.
So Jim, they didn't even itemize their quote, Granite City?
Meaning what?
Meaning like they didn't itemize with one line for the,
Neither one of them.
okay,
Neither
okay,
one of them idolized, no.
okay,
No, if they did, I would have shared that.
okay.
But even if we paid for shipping, the lower figure is still lower
Correct,
by several $1,000s.
correct.
Right.
Yeah, and because these are both, I mean, all the part numbers match up. I went through each one of them. we're getting these fixtures. So then it just comes down to price.
Can I ask? Go ahead,
Ron?
go ahead, Ron.
Are some or all of these dimmable?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Fine.
I believe most of them are, yes.
And there's enough light to do everything, because there were a lot of places in the last library that there was not enough.
Yeah, I didn't create this lighting schedule, an architect did, so
Okay.
if there isn't, we'll go back to the architect, yeah.
So no, like.
No,
it's In like little, what do they call that when it's in the ceiling?
recessed?
Recess?
No, but what this lighting schedule doesn't include, and I'm told this lighting schedule meets the lumens count as it is. What it doesn't include is there's accent lighting already in that library, which we're leaving. There are wall sconces that we're leaving. We'll work with Pat to see what works. So you'll have that additional lighting in here besides this lighting.
And it's not, the chandelier isn't the only lighting that's in that room.
In that room, I believe it is.
So what I,
That's a 5 or 6.
Five. More than I can see.
Five bulb fixture. Typically, each bulb is 100 watts. So that's 500 watts of lighting in that room. I think you'll be dimming it every time you're in there.
so that's what I want to make sure of is the room that's going to be the reading / relaxing, room.
Mhm.
That, and the room where we're going to have the space for accessible technology. That those are absolutely dimmable because we may have people that have certain types of disability where too much brightness is not a good thing,
Okay.
Or vice versa.
or vice versa. So
Mhm.
they have to be dimmable or we can't use them there.
How are the stations going to be set up for people with physical limitations or disabilities?
Yeah, I mean, they'll be the right height, we'll have the right cheering, and the technology will be built into the computers.
So couldn't we have desk lamps there as well?
Yeah, we can get desk lamps too. That's something we
Okay.
talked about with the trustee.
I thought.
Yeah, we talked about desk lamps, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Like those banker lamps.
Exactly. That's the kind we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Or even if you're in the reading room, you could have a lamp as well that somebody could use to direct the light to the page.
as long as it's all controllable. That's what matters.
It's a good idea, Bert.
Because, I know I don't see very well. I need
Yeah.
that light.
Yeah. So it'd be a portable light that somebody could just say, I need the read
Right.
light or something.
So even if I'm wrong and freight is higher, we're looking at $34,000. We still have $6,000 left over for additional fixtures. That's an awful lot of money. So
Jim, does either company have a timeline involved?
both of these companies are 4 weeks from ordering to delivery.
Mark, did you have a question?
No,
Okay, I thought I heard something. Are you comfortable with these lights, Pat, as far as historical? The craft room doesn't look too historical, looks
The craft
hysterical.
room doesn't look too, but I understand why you want the hanging lights for function. And that room was kind of not really, it always was a kitchen,
Hmm.
so it would have had kitchen lights. Even back when it was built, it was a kitchen, so
Probably would have candles
it would have had candles or oil lamps.
or gas. Yeah. So we don't want to go with candles? No.
Yeah, we could go.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, for functional use there and given that room wasn't always used historically, I think that probably is okay. And I worked on picking out the other lights and Lori picked out the children's.
Yeah, Brian, you were going to say something?
The LED lights, can you control the color temperature on that?
More than likely, most these just have 3 different light.
Yeah.
They have 3 different lumens settings and 3 different shade settings, which is called Kelvin.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know that it's important, but it might be.
it is. If you go in my office, my lights are at a different Kelvin than the rest of the room because they bother me.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, good.
With Northeast, when it comes to the freight, are we going to get the invoice on the freight? Or are they going to just tell us it costs $5,000 for freight? Are we going to get some proof? with the-
no, it's typically billed by the carrier. We actually get a bill of lading, which is from the carrier, which shows the freight cost.
Okay, so we'll know,
Right. I would be I don't know what they carried for freight based on the amount here. It seems like, I can't see it costing $7,000 for freight.
Yeah.
So either, I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Sure.
But I'll go pick them up myself.
I was gonna say, I-
Brand,
Take a coffee break on the
Right.
Oh, yeah. Get them.
Yeah, sure. Sounds like a road trip.
I can ask that question if you want.
Where they, we know where they're coming
Yeah.
from. That's a good question. I mean,
You laugh, but we've done that. We've.
No,
picked
I
up
know.
equipment on-
Yeah,
well,
Where are
Yeah,
they coming from?
I can find out if there's a, if
It's
there's
Hawaii.
I mean, we did that for the grass mats that we use at different events for ADA. We did that and we saved almost $2,400 by picking them up, and putting them on a truck.
If you so choose, you can put that in your motion that we can explore whether customer pickup is economical or not. And if it is, we'll do it. If we're not, then
The only concern I would have with customer pickup, truthfully, is these are lights, and I'm sure there's some fragility to them. And once we take them from the warehouse, if we get them here and unpack them, they can turn around and say, well, didn't happen on our watch,
Yeah.
as opposed to the responsibility they're gonna have to deliver them intact.
Well, I think it should be included in the motion, but let's look at what the figure is. And we'll make a final decision at some later point as whether we should have somebody pick them up or whether we should pay the freight.
and Northeast may say it's not an option. And
Sure.
that's it. So, yeah.
Are there any other questions?
So you said there would be like 6,000 for other lighting fixtures that we may need for the bathrooms and
Yeah, I think that would even cover your lamps if you did desk
Don't-
lamps and things of that
lamps,
nature.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
refurbishing the wall sconces and stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Did you say refurbishing?
whatever they need. Whatever they need, polishing. New light bulbs.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah, anything Wisconsin, I'm in.
Of course you are.
Absolutely.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, isn't it cheese?
Wisconsin, yeah.
How much is it? 27 watts?
No, 29.
29.8.
29,806 plus freight.
And which lighting can't take LED? Can you say something?
I believe most lighting is LED now.
Okay.
These are probably regular medium base fixtures, which means you put LED bulbs in them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that the two cloud fixtures and the pendant light all has LED bulbs in them already.
Yeah.
Most everything you buy today is LED.
So what does the committee want to do? Or is the company?
Well, you tell us. Are you voting aye?
I will entertain a motion to approve Northeast in the amount of $29,806 plus freight. And we're going to make a decision whether or not we're going to pick up the lighting or have them pick it up. That's my motion. If somebody wants to make another, I'm hoping somebody makes that motion. There is another company, I forget the name of the other company.
Granite City.
What is it? Granite City.
Granite City
So
Electric.
you guys make a motion to whatever,
I'll second that as it is.
the one that I mentioned.
Yes.
I'll move it.
Is the, move it, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of this, say aye. I'm starting with Ron.
Ron O'Connor, aye.
Mark Rocknick, aye.
Rick Real Trust, aye.
Pat Gales, aye.
Jonathan Gale, aye.
Campuchico, aye.
James Aguirre, aye.
Ralph Taco, aye.
Mark,
Mark Navarre's aye.
it passes unanimously.
See, I don't know what I'm supposed to say if I wanted to say no, but I was supposed.
That's right. He only gives us one choice.
That's right, there was only one
I
option.
said all those in favor, say,
A or A.
The only, this is separate for this, but the question is going to be separately. Once we find out whether or not what the cost of freight is to make a decision, if we have to meet again, that's going to hold up the process. So I don't know if we can agree for everyone. I don't know if we have to formally hold a meeting, a Zoom meeting for 2 minutes, or if we can agree to have an email sent out with the cost of freight and we can all weigh in yes or no.
Don't know, we can do that by email.
Why don't we
Open
just
meeting law.
designate Mark and Jim to make the determination?
That's great, because
Set a
I think
limit on
that's the
what
best
that
way
would
to
cost.
go.
Yeah.
these need to be ordered.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if they determine that it's, they know the budget, they know,
It's reasonable, yeah.
Are
yeah.
you making that motion then?
I'm making that motion that James Aguirre and Mark Rocknick be in charge of shipping,
Great.
picking up or not.
Well, did we just want to set an upper limit on the cost of shipping? Did we,
I think if they can determine, they know
Let
the
them-
budget.
okay, yeah,
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
that was a good idea. That's my discussion.
Thank you.
so that means that Mark and Jim will decide whether we'll have it shipped or they will pick it up.
Which means those two will be responsible for it if they pick it up and it breaks, comes out of their salaries.
I think it's on the committee, we're authorized them to do it, but yeah, good. Okay,
I'll ask for a vote, starting with Ron. How do you vote? Ron?
aye.
Mark Rocknick, aye.
Britt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Pat, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
Kenny Pacheco's voting aye. Jim, how do you vote?
Yes, aye.
Ralph Pataco, aye.
Mark Tavares?
Aye.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, do it.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you for putting all that together.
Now we have an invoice for North Star Refrigeration, Inc., totaling $107,500.
Yeah, this one is actually for the trustees. So there's $84,500 left in the HVAC grant. So we'd like to split this invoice for $84,500 to spend on the rest of that grant. And the other half of that, or the other part of that invoice would be $23,000 CPC funds. I already got Kevin Smith to sign off on that. So I'd just be looking for the trustees to approve $84,500 from the HVAC grant to go towards this invoice to spend now.
I move that we do that.
Rita, second, you there?
I second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve 84,500 towards the HVAC invoice.
And
Do
20,
you have a copy of the invoice with you?
It's not on me, no,
You
sorry.
don't? Okay.
It was raining. I carried light today because it was raining. Sorry.
All right, so any discussion? And then we'll vote. Starting with Rita. Rita, we're voting.
She's muted.
You're muted.
If,
I vote yes.
Okay, Ann?
Anne Light said aye.
Ron O'Connor, aye. Motion passes.
if it makes you feel any better, I went through every line of that invoice and I concurred, so,
That was, I have no,
okay.
the issue was just to say, okay, the trustees had their eyes on it.
Gotcha.
We'll do that later. It's not a big deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Riddle sign. A trustee will,
Yeah.
I can't get a paid without a trustee signing for it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fully trust that. It just, it was more just a procedural thing. Maybe we need to see it.
A trustee will sign it.
Yeah.
We'll see it who signed it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
So that motion was for the full amount, 107?
No, that motion was for 84,500. The remainder, the 23,000 comes from CPC.
We don't have to vote on that.
That was already voted on. Kevin Smith signed that. Yep.
Good, thank
I
you.
got clear. I got that all. Clear. Yeah.
Good, thank you. Next agenda item is discussion regarding poison ivy on premises. What's up with that?
So I was made aware by the town electrician that poison ivy, I'm not an expert on poison ivy, so I did not and cannot verify. At the back of the building, including the grassy areas behind between the building and the abutting property, is loaded with poison ivy. In fact, he said he had to glove up and the whole thing to do the electrical work that he needed to do on the HVAC. So we both felt that was prudent to bring it to the library director, and Mark felt it was prudent enough to bring to the committee. I have no idea what the solution is. I'm fortunate, it doesn't bother me. I can touch it and it happens, but
Well, there is a solution.
it's
Hold
not,
and bag it, there you go.
it's not in my job description,
Just
so.
don't burn it.
So
I thought it said et cetera, in the contract.
does, I may be wrong, but does the highway department occasionally need to spray certain places in town? for poison ivy?
I-
And do they have the equipment, do we know?
I'm not aware of it.
They use a heat process for killing weeds. You could check the time. I got a tour of the garage the other day and he showed me this thing that uses like the steam kind of thing. that they-
They use a torch too with propane.
Yeah.
I've seen that. So
But you don't burn.
You
poison
can't
ivy.
burn poison. ivy.
Cannot,
No.
It's very bad.
they use-
yep, trade bed.
it's okay if you don't
I don't-
breathe.
No, my mother got it from smoke inhalation and it's
Goes in your
horrible.
lungs, yeah.
It's horrible.
Well,
Well, that's one solution. I don't know that there's another.
I don't know the solution.
Yeah.
Granite City Partners is doing a exterior landscape parking lot plan. Do you want to get really outside the box and get rid of the green back there and do something else? I'm just asking. I don't know.
I mean, personally, I like having space back there to do something.
Yeah.
But not if that's something, well, that's my next one, not if that something is in poison ivy.
So is there some other pervious material that could go there that you could still satisfy your program activities, but not have grass or weeds?
That's really the only green space in that lot, basically.
That's the kicker.
I mean, and the other side of it though, too, I think is that by the time we get to doing something like that, it's gonna, and there's a landscaping project going on, it's gonna be end of summer at this point probably, but in the meantime, it's only gonna get worse and worse. So for the short term, I'm wondering if it makes sense first to ask Tom, because I know Kevin doesn't do that, but to ask Tom if he has the equipment or the spraying to kill it, and if they can, and if not, then maybe we need to contract a local landscaping company to come in and kill it and then wipe it out. It may grow back again, but at least on the short term,
We want to get rid of it.
you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't usually grow back if you pull it out, because I've had a lot of experience with poison ivy. I'm highly allergic to it, so I would like suit up with the asbestos suit and we literally pulled it out. Could it be part of the landscape plan included to eradicate?
I guess it
Poison
can be,
ivy?
yeah, but
You
I
know?
mean, I don't know what that is. I honestly don't.
It's
The only thing I'm thinking of,
Basically
Ralph,
yanking
is
it out.
if somebody, if they need to get there in the meantime to do work,
yeah,
we need to get it out of there.
yeah.
So, well, the work right now is just about done back there,
Okay.
so, yeah, and North Star didn't complain. We might get a change order, I don't know.
Yeah. I have some of my property. I got it in 4 spots. I tried spray. There's no organic spray that kills poison ivy.
You gotta yank it out.
And that's what I did. I was telling Jonathan on the way over, Monday or Tuesday, I suited up. And so far it hasn't
Yeah,
bothered me, but I get it, but not bad. My wife gets it bad, so you have to be careful with her. We just came back from a trip and she had worked in the yard the day before. And she got
Yeah.
poison ivy on the trip, so it was difficult to get stuff for that. So you're right. The best way to get rid of it is to yank it out. Now, whether I don't think that the highway department's gonna be willing to do that. They might be willing to spray, but I'm not sure they're gonna. And I'm not sure I want to put them in that position, going in there and
Mhm.
pulling that out.
Is it worth at least between now and our next meeting, at least putting the cost of getting rid of it out to bid to some local landscapers?
It's not in a budget though, right? So
We really need to be careful. We are doing good. We did have a little bit of a cost overrun with the branch circuits for the HVAC. That was $1,200 more than budgeted. So, everything is going in the right direction, but I still want to be very, very conscious of the budget, so.
I would think the first thing to do would be talk with Tom Ferry. Because they do our ground maintenance, for all of the buildings. So I would talk with him first.
yeah, maybe we've run into poison ivy before.
Yeah.
We could reach out to
Well,
Tom.
I did, and
Oh,
I didn't get a very warm response, so whether he was just being Tom or not, I don't know, but Tom. Tell the kids not to touch it.
Maybe Mark should talk.
That was always my experience. Parents said, don't go there. I said, okay.
C3, leave it be.
This is what I did, yeah.
Would you like to talk to him?
I can, yes.
Okay, I just Googled it and found a few, but the most fun one sounds like goat grazing.
Oh, yeah,
Some
that's right,
goats.
yeah.
But that doesn't get the roots out, though.
You ever seen a goat eat?
I'll pull them.
Goats.
I think they'll eat
We
everything.
have a resident goat.
We have goats in town, absolutely we do.
Mhm.
I know you can rent goats for that.
People, they do.
Does the Aggie school have any goats?
I'm
By the
sure
way,
they do.
goats
Yeah.
don't work, hire a professional.
Goats don't work higher.
Goats don't work, hire.
Is that what it says?
Last step here, yeah.
Or does it say if goats don't
Pulling
work?
them out, using herbicides and finally.
I see Tom tonight, huh?
Yeah, hire.
You have to hire them at prevailing wage, though. The goats.
The goats, oh,
Let
yeah.
him know, Jim Shea.
Another option is smothering, but that's, smothering is covering them with cardboard and then throwing
Yeah.
some dirt over it and just letting them die for months, but
Hmm.
anyway.
It's hard to kill poison ivy.
It is.
Yeah.
I guess once we've cleaned it
It's
out, the
beautiful in the
question
fall.
would be, what do we do with that space so that it's usable and, to your point,
Well,
not having grass, but having some other kind of surface that would be.
well, based on discussions with Mark, when I went around the property with GCP, we had some bullet points and Mark always wanted that to stay green space back there.
Mhm.
So, that was the intent.
Okay.
There's also, Granite City actually put this on the table, that right side where the employees park, the curb cut is so wide there. They thought about adding some green space on that side to tighten up that curb cut. I thought that was a great idea.
Mhm.
So,
So Mark, I'm going to see Tom Ferry tonight. I'll talk to him about it and I'll let you know tomorrow morning.
Yeah, yeah. Let's say, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
And he's gonna tell you the same thing.
No, he won't.
Tell the kids not to touch
Yeah.
it.
Let's start off saying that, but. So if he doesn't, when's our next meeting?
June
June
12th.
12th.
So if he can't do it,
Is that
I
it?
mean, I do think no matter what, we should have Granite City include that in their scape project.
okay,
I don't know if everybody else feels that way, but I think they should include some ideas for that area.
And we're positive it is poison ivy.
I told you, I'm not an expert.
I'm not either.
The
Yeah,
town electrician
yeah.
made
Did
me
you look
aware
at
that
it?
it is.
Now, even if I were to look at it, I'm not a,
Okay,
I know where-
my
I know what it
experience with
looks like.
poison ivy is my parents said, don't go, there's poison ivy.
you don't know
I
what
just
it looks
never,
like.
I just never
Okay.
went there. So I don't,
have you look at
I
it.
take people's word for it.
You know poison ivy.
Yeah.
So we're
Just
working on
looking
a
at it, I'll
motion
get-
here.
I was gonna say the same thing. I could send my wife over to check it
Yeah,
out.
so
Start
if
teaching.
you rub a leaf on your face and nothing happens, it's not poison ivy. If you get a rash, then it's poison ivy.
So is there a two-part motion here, I think?
So you're looking for a volunteer?
Yes. I thought
Well, it's
the
three
library
parts.
director, wasn't it part of your contract? No?
I have to go back and check.
He has to get permission from.
Well, I was thinking that the remedy is, once we clear it all out, every day before you go into the building, you check and you pull out whatever's there. It's like a morning routine.
I do like my routines.
Yeah. I can only say it's going to get worse if we don't deal with it. It's only going to get
We
worse.
have, we have two things that I'm hearing, that's what, so
Right.
the committee can chime in on both. One is getting rid of what's there,
Name that.
but
It's
then
not up, doesn't go up to
the
building.
plan is retaining the green space. The other part of the motion is retaining the green space there, that it's not, we're not doing anything else with it other than, that's the goal of getting the poison ivy out of there, is to be able to have permanent green space in that location. So that's the motion. We may not all agree with that. That's how people have voted. So.
I think if you allow, there's one more thing that I should bring to your attention about the back of the building. I was visited by the owner of the property to the rear this week. And he had mentioned that he would like to see a fence there if the budget would allow. So I didn't say yes or no. I said, we get to the end of the project. If we have funds available, we'll consider it.
Because their property line's right there. Yeah.
We actually own more of his backyard than he thought we did.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
So yeah, put the fence up and see what happens.
No, he's aware that we own most of the property. The only concern I have as a building official, just so you know, the chief and I, if we put the fence up all the way to the street,
Mhm.
Pleasant Street, they might not be able to get out of their windows in an emergency. So I would not be in favor of that.
Mhm.
Which is why we're gonna direct the cars to park so that the headlights are not facing the house. Because I
Right.
don't think there'll ever be a fence there. So, but that's how close the property line is to his house. We own quite a bit.
I don't think we can address the issue with the fence right now, because we
No.
don't know if we have the funds.
Right.
So we can tell them we're looking into it.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, when we get real close to the end, we can decide whether or not we have the funds to
Yep.
put a fence, and what type of fence if we want to
Right.
put a fence up. But were you making a motion then?
As co-chair, I'm not sure that I can.
No, you can't. Okay, you're right. You want to repeat what you think somebody should make as a motion and
Tell them how to vote.
tell us?
So
Vote aye.
the motion was in two parts. We can do just
Sure.
two motions or one, but the motion is to find a remedy for permanent eradication is a good word, eradication of the poison ivy at 207 Main Street. And the other part of it is for the purpose of creating a permanent green space in that location that's free of poison ivy. Does that make sense? So we're not voting on what the solution is. We need to find one.
Sure.
But we are voting on whether to retain that space.
So then if we, the second part of it, we can, in the motion, we can ask that Granite City, determine what we can do with that space. But for the first part of it, if we make a motion to eradicate, who's going to do the follow-up on that part of the motion?
I thought you were doing that tonight.
I'm gonna do it
yeah.
tonight. I want to
I think
speak.
separate it out.
Two motions.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to get rid of the poison ivy.
Second. If we can find a solution.
Yes.
Well, you have to get rid of it.
Is there any discussion? If not,
Would,
well,
there is discussion.
yes.
Does that mean if we have to go to an outside contractor, we're doing that?
Hmm.
Because
I'm
I
not
don't-
pulling it up.
well, I don't know.
If we
but
can
Tom-
avoid that.
I did not get a warm feeling from Tom, so maybe Ken will have better luck tonight.
I would add to the motion that if we have to go an outside contractor, that we put it out for local bids.
Well, if it's a few $100s, I don't see the need in doing that, but I do think that the committee should know if it's gonna cost money.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we do not to exceed? I don't
You
know.
can do whatever you like.
I
It's your
know, whatever
motion.
I want, huh?
It's your motion.
I want to pay, I want my lights, no.
Well, this is something that can wait for further discussion for our June 10th, 12th meeting. It's something that,
That's my opinion.
yes.
My opinion is that you talk to Tom, you bring that back to the
Yeah.
committee, and then we still have 3 months before we really have to
Mhm.
think about this, so.
Then I can withdraw my motion.
So, so that space, though, independent of the poison ivy issue, it's part of the landscaping plan that Granite City Partners is working on, correct?
Yeah, I don't anticipate we'll have that plan
Okay.
for at least a month, maybe longer.
Then we don't need to have that vote either.
Right.
We'll wait till we see that.
Yeah,
So you withdraw your motion?
yeah.
And if Tom has something to say, can he just go ahead and do it or? Or is that something that has to then be voted on again?
The
I don't think it is.
eradication of, I'm sorry, Ken.
Yeah, no, I don't, no, Ralph.
I think we're probably gonna say the same thing. Eradication of a weed doesn't really need a vote. I think the only vote is to, if we were gonna expend extra money on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if he can
if Tom says he
has
can do it,
something,
and-
some idea, then just get it done and we don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I want to tell them to go forward and do it. We don't have to wait for June 10th, 12th meeting. Okay, I think it is the 12th. 14th is Saturday, yeah. 12th, but it's just the 12th.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
sense a
On the calendar.
consensus
Second Thursday.
here,
Whatever the second
that no members of the committee love poison ivy and want to keep it there.
Well,
So
it is natural.
I don't think we have,
Believe me, it's growing in-
I don't think we have any poison ivy huggers in the group.
No. I agree. I have 4 big spots in my yard. I pulled some out the other day, like I said, and it's not a pleasant job to do, and you gotta always worry if you're pulling it out, it's gonna hit your face or whatever.
Or you don't want us to move those to.
Nope, I don't want them to dig up the plants and bring them over to my yard. We did have a plant sale last week. We could have sold some, I guess, but anyway,
If we
I
were-
digress.
Feed them to the goats.
So that's gonna happen. That's what we'll do with the poison ivy. There isn't a big rush. Obviously, it gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on, but I think we should have an answer from Tom anyway, and maybe June 12th. Okay, to take further action on it.
We'll have it on the agenda.
Anything else people want to bring up before we have a motion to adjourn? Am I right? Yes. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor say aye, starting with Ron.
Ron Connor, aye.
Mark Proknik, aye.
Britt Real's Trust, aye.
Pat Gales, aye.
Jonathan Gale, aye.
Ken Pacheco, aye.
James Aguirre, aye.
Ralph Taco, aye.
Mark Tavares, aye.
It passes.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting of the library trustees.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to adjourn. We'll vote. Starting with Ann,
And Mike's and I.
Rita,
Aye.
Ron O'Connor, aye. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Rita.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Smart.